This is a Squiz podcast. We're your shortcut to being informed.
Squiz Kids! It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Good morning and welcome to Squiz Kids, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Bryce Corbett. It's Monday, February 15. In Squiz Kids today, COVID vaccine for kids, earthquake in Japan, Dylan chases 7th tennis crown, and goats to the rescue. That's what's making news, kids style.
The Lowdown.
There's been plenty in the news lately about the rollout of COVID vaccines. Just yesterday, the federal government announced that a shipment of the Pfizer vaccine would arrive by the end of this week and start to be jabbed into willing Aussies' arms by the end of this month. It will start with those most at risk, the elderly and frontline health workers. But what about vaccines for kids? Well, there was news on that front yesterday too, with the announcement that a trial of the AstraZeneca vaccine was about to be undertaken on 300 volunteers in the UK aged between 6 and 17 years old. Even though COVID doesn't seem to have the same effect on kids as it does on adults, clinical trials like this one are an important part of the vaccine rollout process, allowing scientists to see, using a controlled group of patients, how effective and safe the vaccine is for younger people. Meanwhile, Victoria will enter its third day of hard lockdown today as authorities there try to bring the so-called Holiday Inn cluster under control. It's back to homeschooling again for our Victorian friends for at least the first half of this week. Kids, be gentle with your folks this week. They're going to be on the edge.
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a news story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed in Japan, where the aftershock of an earthquake that happened 10 years ago has rattled the eastern city of Fukushima. Buildings were shaken, almost 1 million homes were left without power, and more than 100 people were injured in the aftershock. But thankfully, there were no reports of lives being lost. An earthquake happens when two tectonic plates, which make up the outer crust of the Earth, push against each other, building up pressure and causing a sudden shift. Aftershocks are generally smaller shifts in the Earth's surface as the plates settle into their new position. According to scientists, it's not unusual for an aftershock to happen 10 years after an earthquake, which is just mind-blowing. Japan sits on a little bit of the Earth's surface where two tectonic plates meet, a place called the Ring of Fire. That's why 1 in 5 of the world's biggest earthquakes happen in Japan. Wow.
Sport time.
Aussie wheelchair tennis champ and world number 1, Dylan Alcott, got his Australian Open off to a cracking start yesterday, winning his first round match easily as he chases after his 7th crown in the men's quad singles. It was a good weekend too for our women's world number 1, Ash Barty, who cruised to victory in her 3rd round match. She'll play America's Shelby Rogers tonight. Not so lucky at the weekend were Aussies Alex de Minaur, aka The Demon, who lost his 3rd round match, while Aussies double partners Nick Kyrgios and Thanasi Kokkinakis went down too.
Animal Kingdom.
A bunch of goats in New South Wales are being rented out by a farmer to neighbouring properties who want to get the weeds on their farm under control, but don't want to use weed killer. The novel solution to Mudgee's weed problem came about after heavy rains in the region saw an explosion of pest plants like thistle, wisteria and blackberry. Rather than use chemicals to try to kill the weeds, a local farmer let his mob of goats loose in the paddocks and watched them eat the problem away. Goats are renowned for eating practically anything, from weeds to wet laundry. According to the farmer, 12 of his goats can eat through a blackberry patch the size of a single-car garage every single day. The Weed Patrol goats have proven so popular, some schools have even borrowed them to keep their ovals tidy, and the folk who run Melbourne's train system have used them to keep weeds at bay alongside train tracks. A clever, environmentally friendly solution to a prickly, pesky problem. Don't forget to keep those questions coming in for former Yellow Wiggle, Sam Moran, who's kindly agreed to do the first Squiz Kids Q&A for the year. Sam's just put out a new single with Guy Sebastian called Pool Party, and he's ready to answer all your musical and entertainment questions. If you've got a question you'd like to ask Sam, now's your chance. Send it through to squizkids@thesquiz.com.au by tomorrow night. It's going to be fun. And speaking of deadlines, today's the last day for parents and teachers of Squiz Kids to take part in the Bigger Better Squiz Kids Survey. For your chance to win a special book pack, as well as help give shape to your favourite kids news podcast, be sure to follow the link in today's episode notes to the survey.
Time for the quiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. In which country do 20% of the world's biggest earthquakes occur? That's right, it's Japan. Question number 2. Name Australia's world number 1 wheelchair tennis champ. Yeah, it's Dylan Alcott. Question number 3. What animals have been sent in to control weeds on New South Wales farms? You got it, they're goats.
Shout-outs.
It's February 15, birthday for Simpsons creator Matt Groening, rapper Megan Thee Stallion, and also for YouTube, which turns 16 today. See, it hasn't been around forever. It's also a special day for these Squiz kids celebrating a birthday today. Vivian from Atwell, Spencer from Invermay, Lucius from Yarraman, Chloe from Sydney, Ledger from North Narrabeen, Dash from Wheeler Heights, and Chase from Roos. And some belated birthday shout-outs too to James from Wallen, Felicity and Taylor from Ingham, Noah from North Narrabeen, Barnaby and Anya from Sydney, and Ben from Temora. Happy birthday one and all. And today's classroom shout-outs go out to Miss Bates's 4A class at Edith Vale Primary School, 56H&L at St Joseph's in Mernda, Class 6B at Berwick Lodge Primary School, 56A, H and P at Cannon Hill State School, and a special shout-out to 6G at St Thomas More Catholic Primary School with Mrs Jensen, who celebrated a birthday last week. Don't forget, if you've got a birthday coming up and you want a shout-out, or if you're after a classroom shout-out, drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au. Well, that's all we have time for today. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids. We'll be back again tomorrow. In the meantime, you know what to do. Get out there and have a most excellent day. Over and out. Squiz Kids is proudly supported by the Judith Neilson Institute for Journalism and Ideas.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.